rules don't apply to them, only to the individual that they picked and they don't like. Just like Helen, my attorney, she told you the same thing because I was outspoken. I have Facebook, which I speak what happened, what's going on. And also, like Helen told you, I get invited to Carl Tucker show on Fox News. And Dana Nessel, she was very specific because if you order FOIA, Freedom Information Act, she's talking back and forth with state police and all the demands what she imposed on me, what she wants them to do. She don't follow any laws. She imposed her own laws because she wants to put me down, scare me, and show others, look what can happen to you if you don't follow. She likes to put fear in people's life.
Americans are capable of achieving extraordinary things when they have the freedom and opportunity to do so. This is American Potential.
Hey everyone, welcome to the American Potential Podcast. I'm your host, David Fromm. This episode is part 2 of Marlena Pavlos-Hackney's story. If you missed the first part, be sure to go back and listen because she shared what it was like growing up under communism in Poland and then immigrating to America, achieving the American dream and opening a business. This part of her story picks up during COVID. She lives in Michigan, and we all remember what Governor Whitmer did during COVID, forcing certain businesses to shut down while allowing others to stay open under certain restrictions, banning travel to second homes, except for her own, and imposing curfews and fines that left many confused and frustrated. So, when the Michigan Supreme Court ruled in October of 2020 that the governor's executive orders were unconstitutional, that should have been the end of it, but it wasn't. Instead of stepping back, the governor issued a second round of executive orders, and that's when Marlena's troubles began. What followed was a legal roller coaster that not only threatened her business and freedom, but could ultimately set a dangerous precedent, one that risks stripping Michigan residents of their constitutional rights. I want to welcome back Marlena, but we also are bringing her attorney, Helen Brinkman, in to talk about the case. Marlena and Helen, welcome.
Hello. Wow.
Well, thanks so much for joining us. So just to recap, the first set of executive orders, Marlena, you followed. But in October of 2020, the Michigan Supreme Court ruled that they were unconstitutional. So after you heard that, what did you do?
I decided that I will stand up and I will protect my unalienable God-given rights and constitutional protected rights that we the people have. So I decide I will not comply and I will keep working. I work. I didn't apply for PPP loan like many people they did, and they say, well, you can get loan and so on. And I say, no, this is fishy. I live in communism. Nothing is free. They give you something, they're gonna take something. I say I can work and produce and pay my bills and pay my people. So I decide I will not close. I have the sign like I told you in previous episode, and I decide that I don't do nothing wrong. In the meantime, like in October, Dana Nessel and Whitmer, they announced that they will not enforce any mandates because they lost already. And what they did, they come and arrest me. They come and legally come and send the state police. And state police, they don't want to be involved. But because Dana Nessel, Attorney General, she gave direct order to state police that they have to come and arrest me. Dana Nessel also demand from the justice to give me the highest penalty that I can get, 93 days and more, to close my business, to put boards. And this was really humiliated, discriminated, and unethical. I also demand that Governor Whitmer and Dana Nessel will be fair to all, because I'm a small human being. I have my rights too. Not like Governor Whitmer. She didn't follow her own mandates. She don't follow distancing. She don't follow masking. And Everything was lovely. The establishment who served them, they didn't have to pay any penalties. I get arrested. I spend 5 days in jail. I have to pay $15,000 in jail. I was handcuffed. I was shackled and humiliated. And I demand justice. Justice for all. Not just for me, but for all American people, for Michiganders, for people who lost their business, for people who lost their lives and loved ones. We, the people, demand justice. And that's why I'm fighting and so grateful that I have Helen Brinkman to be my attorney, who she represents and does such a great job. And now I'm praying, God, please help us that the federal Supreme Court will take us case and hear, and justice will be served. Justice for all.
Yeah. So I remember back, because I paid a lot of attention to Michigan during the shutdowns, and it was probably some of the most egregious examples of hypocrisy by leadership, not following the rules that they set for everybody else. It was, Whitmer and others had so many examples of just violating their own rules that they made up. And it just really destroys their credibility and your people's confidence in their leadership. But Marlena, it had to be pretty, was it intimidating to have the highest law enforcement officer, the Attorney General, Dana Nessel, specifically targeting you? I mean, that had to be a little intimidating.
Yes, it was. But God is with me. God protect me. And he helped me and let me go through this difficult time. Like I told you already, I would like to say thanks to all the police officers, to all the law enforcement who were on my side. When I have this warrant for my arrest, I call Holland Police. I call Frank Becker, the Allegheny sheriff. I call Kemper. And everyone told me that they will not arrest me. Even state police, they were refusing. They say, we will not touch this case. This is civil matter. And what Dana Nessel did? I'm in charge. I'm the general attorney of Michigan. You're gonna do what I told you. And that's wrong. They abusing power, and that's not the way it's supposed to work. So right. I'm praying that justice will be served.
So, Helen, how did the second set of executive orders lead to Marlena being arrested?
So, as you stated, on October 2nd, they were declared by the Michigan Supreme Court to be null and void retroactively to April 30th of 2020. So she had been operating outside of the Constitution for many, many months. What she did, she went to another statute. Two statutes were declared. One was declared void, unconstitutional. The other one had expired, and the legislature refused to extend the time frame. So she went to a third statute under the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services that had less constitutional authority than the one they'd already ruled as unconstitutional. And that's how she proceeded, under another statute.
So, Marlena, this may be a basic question, but I'd love to hear, why did you not follow the second set of executive orders?
I am a human being. I have bills to pay and make a living. I don't want handouts. I don't want any PPO loan or free money, because nothing is free. Everything's got a price tag. They using our money to give here and there, and we, the people who live in this country, we cannot survive and have a basic, just like I lived back then in Poland. The same thing. We have wrong government that control and try to take all the assets and freedom and happiness from people. So I decide I want to be self-sustained and I want to pay my bills, but to able to be that, I have to work. So either I'm getting a job or I'm going to run my business. I have people who work for me. They have bills to pay. So I decide I'm going to have my business open. And like I told you, I had my sign on my door. So people will feel safe, because I don't want to put anybody in jeopardy or unsafety. If you know what I'm doing and how I run my business, my establishment, is up to you. If you're willing to come and feel and participate, or you don't, you have the right to stay home. And I expect and I respect everybody's opinion. People, they have the rights to do whatever they choose. I don't say my opinion is right or somebody's wrong. It's freedom of speech and freedom of doings. So it's up to individual. And people were so happy. People come to my establishment back then from all over the country, from California, from New York, saying, thank you, God bless you, we appreciate you, because you're the one who stand up for our freedom, because if our freedom's gonna be taken away, we are done. And America is only country that can deliver it to the whole globe. So I'm fighting for freedom for we the people across the globe. And I'm hoping that people will get united, because people get divided, families, and all the stuff what's going on is heartbroken. Make me cry, because we as a people, you should be as a one happy family and united and see what is right and what is wrong. And every human being wants to have a safety home, a safety country, safety state. So why can't we not work together with the government and deliver what the government should do? Protect us safety.
So, Helen, it seems like the AG was picking and choosing what you said over on the statutes, found a statute, and then had the state police arrest Marlena and then take her to Lansing. I mean, Lansing's what, 2 hours away? I mean, were there it seems like there was law enforcement who were not willing to enforce this, but then did you find the state police and compel them to do that?
Correct. So the sheriff, who should be in control of the county, told her he would not arrest her, and he did not. But, and Marlena's correct, the local branch of the Michigan State Police refused to arrest her. But the Lansing branch that works directly with the Attorney General on a daily basis drove from Lansing to Grand Haven to the edge of the state, picked her up in her own driveway, misrepresented the facts from what I understand. I'm not exactly sure about that, but misrepresented the facts about why they arrested her and brought her before the court. And this was done. This was done at the direction of the Attorney General in anticipation of keeping her from speaking on Tucker Carlson about what she saw as a threat to the freedoms that she fought. She left her family, she left her country, and she worked her way through Europe, became a naturalized citizen to achieve. And you got to understand how much that's going to threaten someone who invested that much of their life into finally grasping that hope and seeing it start to disassemble.
Yeah, I mean, that's really despicable. It's just, a powerful law enforcement officer and the Attorney General in this case. Yeah. Seeking to silence someone just because they're speaking out and they don't like what she has to say. I mean, it's amazing that, the Attorney General is specifically targeting Marlena and her business. And that's scary. I mean, I remember it was scary times because there was unprecedented things happening, but it had to feel more like communist Poland than it did Michigan.
Yes. And she stated in the news that she understood that it was unconstitutional and that she shouldn't be pursuing it any longer. And yet she did.
Wow. So what happened in court in Lansing?
So I didn't represent Marlena originally. What happened was she was arrested. She was brought before the court on contempt charges for failing. So what had happened previously was the health department got word that she had this sign on her door that she mentioned. Someone saw it, was offended, went to the health department, and the health department suspended her, a temporary suspension. Marlena opposed that and went into Lansing before an administrative law judge and proclaimed this is unconstitutional. In broken English, she was unrepresented, but she clearly made a record that, look, this is unconstitutional based on what the Supreme Court had done. She didn't mention the Supreme Court, but she did say this is unconstitutional. The administrative law judge wouldn't address that, ignored it, and kept the suspension on her license. She continued to stay open, as she indicated. The health department came to check, saw that she was still open, and went to Dana Nessel. She made sure she got arrested, brought to the court, and when she came into Lansing, it was on a contempt charge for failing or for operating while she has no license. The judge did not allow her to speak. She brought someone in who she wanted to speak for her, was an attorney, so the court wouldn't allow that person to speak. And I did not represent her at that time. They held her. I believe she was arrested at that hearing. Is that right, Marlena? You were sent to jail on that hearing.
When they bring me, first I have in February, I have an administrative judge,
Right.
which she give me a suspension, and then I have 60 days to appeal, and 30 days later, I have another court hearing with another judge, but this time was Lansing, Wanda Stoik. She is the one who imposed bench warrant for my arrest, closed the business immediately, and then she sent the police to arrest me, state police. She's got hard time to find somebody who will come, but those police officers, they were from Kalamazoo area. And even the officer who arrested me, he says, usually we don't do what we do, but we have a direct order from Dana Nessel. Usually we will keep you here in your county, but because Dana Nessel give us the order, we gonna take you 2 counties away. So they don't even follow the jurisdictions, which is no. I should be kept here in Fillmore, if so, but they do what they want. As you see, this government agency we have, they have them own rules, regulations. Rules don't apply to them, only to the individual that they picked and they don't like. Just like Helen, my attorney, she told you the same thing because I was outspoken. I have Facebook, which I speak what happened, what's going on. And also, like Helen told you, I get invited to Carl Tucker show on Fox News. And Dana Nessel, she was very specific because if you order FOIA, Freedom Information Act, she's talking back and forth with state police and all the demands what she imposed on me, what she wants them to do. She don't follow any laws. She imposed her own laws because she wants to put me down, scare me, and show others, look what can happen to you if you don't follow. She likes to put fear in people's life. So people will be scared and everybody will follow. But I'm sorry. We the people, we fight for our freedom and freedom will be delivery because we will stand up. So stand up, Michigan. Stand up, America. We have the right for freedom and happy life and justice. Justice for all. And the government's got to follow the same rules like all of us. Not we have to follow their rules and the rules don't apply to them.
Amen.
So,
I mean, that's an American spirit there.
Yeah. So in this, to pick up where she left off, when they arrested her and brought her to Lansing, she was not allowed to leave. She had an attorney that had been hired just by word of mouth because they arrested her on Zoom, but that person was not there with her. She was taken away to jail. She got 93 days, as she indicated, and the 2 fines, $15,000 total, with the understanding that she could leave jail if she came up with the full amount of the $15,000. Of course, she was taken away, strip searched, put in jail at that time. Subsequent to that, I'm not involved at this point. Subsequent to that, Marlena is telling this attorney, please appeal, please appeal. That didn't happen. Subsequent to that, she does get out after a few days in jail. When I become involved I filed the contempt case had not yet been closed. The final judgment had not been entered because the attorney that she hired on Zoom did file an appeal, and they objected to the nature of the fines. And so while that was pending, I became involved, and I filed an immediate motion for declaratory judgment that the underlying statute on which these executive orders were issued is unconstitutional and should be void. And if it's void, the judge has no authority. No court has authority over an unconstitutional statute or law. Yeah. So we brought that motion, but the judge in Lansing said, that's not before me. That's irrelevant, and refused to dismiss the contempt charge against her. In the meantime, another restaurant, the Iron Pig restaurant in Otsego County, was undergoing the very same problem. They also stayed open, just like Marlena. But their attorney immediately removed the case from before the judge that Marlena was in front of, and the judge that Dana Nessel brought all these restaurant cases to. That attorney for the Iron Pig brought his case back to his county judge in Otsego, and that circuit judge held the statute is unconstitutional based on the ruling of the Supreme Court. That judge struck the statute from the health code. And when Dana Nessel got that bad news from that judge, she took a bypass appeal, bypassed the Court of Appeals, went to the Michigan Supreme Court, and the Michigan Supreme Court said, we're not going to hear this. You're jumping a stage. We're not going to set this aside. You go down to the Court of Appeals and see how you fare. Dana Nessel saw the handwriting on the wall, and as it relates to that case, that restaurant, and that county, she dismissed her appeal and allowed that ruling to stand. But Marlena was continued to be treated completely differently, which is a violation of the Equal Protection Clause, Class of 1
right.
Equal protection. So we appealed the judge's decision saying that, look, she had no constitutional basis to hold Marlena in contempt. And unbelievably, between the time we filed that appeal and the time we had oral argument in front of the Court of Appeals, the Michigan Court of Appeals, another 3-judge panel of the Court of Appeals held in conformity with the Otsego judge that the statute under the health code was unconstitutional. So we had Otsego County, and we had the Michigan Supreme Court, another panel of the Michigan Supreme Court, and a panel of the Court of Appeals and the Michigan Supreme Court. And nevertheless, that Court of Appeals held, well, we're not going to apply that law, even though the Court of Appeals has held that. We're not going to apply it to Marlena's case. We're going to apply it to all future cases, but not Marlena's. When we appealed that to the Michigan Supreme Court, the Michigan Supreme Court the Michigan Supreme Court refused to hear it. So now our only option is to get a hearing in front of the United States Supreme Court. For some reason,
oh wow,
Marlena is being denied.
It just seems so unjust. It's not only not logical. I mean, if a bunch of judges at multiple levels have said that this is unconstitutional, everyone agrees that the statute's unconstitutional, and then just Marlena's case seems to just defy logic. Like there's just something that's not, consistent here, and maybe that's what you get for really pissing off the Attorney General, I guess. But man, that's bad news.
Yes. It's frightening for an attorney who practiced as an assistant prosecutor for 25 years. That's not how we behave. This is so unethical. It's the classic case of prosecutorial misconduct and malicious prosecution.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen anything like this in almost 40 years of practice.
So where you sit now, is there anything that's pending in front of the Court of Appeals, or are you going straight to trying to get into the U.S. Supreme Court?
There is no avenue left. We've gone through every stage of the appellate process. The Court of Appeals said no, even though we had all the law on our side. The Michigan Supreme Court refused to hear it. So now the last stage and the only stage is in front of the United States Supreme Court, and the odds of getting certiorari in the United States Supreme Court is very slim, maybe 3%. 6%.
Always distant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I do hope they take it up. I mean, it just seems pretty egregious. Excuse me. It's particularly egregious because it's happening to someone, Marlena, who lived under a communist regime, worked to get out of there, not only kind of escaped there, but built the American dream in America, and is just really an inspirational story that we would love replicated. I mean, there's a lot of talk about immigration in this state and in this nation, and for good reason, right? But like, this is such a wonderful story of someone who came here and made this country better by
Just
making.
If I can bring
life
this
better.
on record, I am not immigrant. I mean, I immigrate from Poland, but I am U.S. citizen. I become U.S. citizen in 1992. So,
Yes. But what she went through, yes, you are. But she alone left her family, worked through Europe,
Yep.
like sacrificed her youth and her to get here, and then to work and learn our laws, get through the immigration process, achieve the dream, and then to watch it begin to disintegrate. You can understand why she would be very defensive of those rights she fought so hard for. Yeah.
and I'm praying that God will lead and help my case, that they will hear me in a federal level, because just like in Poland when was communism, they used the courts as a weapons, and this is what they do, the same thing here, like they did to me. They didn't follow the court. They don't follow the jurisdictions. They took me to the court that they control because they don't follow any laws. And how we, the people, we can do changes, because the justice system is so corrupt, so unfair, not just to me, but so many other Americans. And I'm praying that all the politicians, senators, whoever's got the power, that things will change, law will be changed, and every judge will be held accountable for all the injustice. Because when you go to court and you hear all this stuff, what's going on, and still the judge, like when I went for my arraignment, the judge, Equalina Rosemary, make a statement. If your name's gonna become Burger King, you can have your way. Just for this sentence, she should be removed from the bench. She don't have the authority. She should just see me as one who needs a hearing, not to make a statement. That's mean if I'm a big corporation, I can have my way. But because I'm small pub business mom, they can do with me anything I want. That's unreal and unacceptable on my part. And I'm praying that justice will be served. The same when I have my arraignment. She told me contempt of court. I try to be polite. You can go on YouTube, and the YouTube channel can show you my arraignment with Rosemary Equalina. When I'm polite and say, may I, can I? And she just scream at me. And then I try to be silent under my Fifth Amendment. And she take this as a no, you don't gonna talk? Okay, 93 days. This is not court. This is a Muppet show. And this is America. I'm so sorry. But I was thinking that America's got better value and better justice system. But what I see, the justice system is not justice system. This is judge opinion. And we all do have an opinion. So may God bless us and bring justice to all.
Well,
right. I just want
I'd like to. Yeah, go ahead, Ellen.
Oh, sorry. I just want to clarify. She got 93 days, not because of the way she spoke to the judge. She got 93 days to force her compliance with an unconstitutional law. She was not getting out of jail until she closed her restaurant and paid the fines. And yeah, again, the travesty of this case is that she had to come to American soil to be treated like a communist citizen.
Yeah. Well, Marlena, I will tell you that, I'll pray that the Supreme Court hears this, and I hope our listeners do too. I appreciate your faith and how you are trying to do the right thing here. I think that it's when we think back on the lockdowns and COVID and the abuse of power that we saw across this country was just amazing. And Michigan was some of the worst examples. And I'm so sorry that you are kind of in the middle of one of the worst examples. But it was just so incredible that, political leaders thought that they could just wreck people's livelihoods and not let people be with their loved ones or practice their faith or do the most basic things that are guaranteed under the Constitution. And unfortunately, a lot of people just stood by. But I do think that there was a real awakening after that. I think a lot of us realized, hey, that was bad. And a lot of us have been very serious about holding our elected officials accountable and really kind of recommitting ourselves to our constitutional rights and the things that are guaranteed under the Constitution. So I hope that your story continues to open people's eyes to, the real stories of what happens in, abuse of power and people in law enforcement acting outside of the Constitution. So, I hope this gets to the Supreme Court. I hope you get a favorable resolution, and I really appreciate you both coming on and sharing your story with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless. God bless America.
Amen.
Thank you, and God bless you too. Well, I hope the Supreme Court does take this up, and Marlena and Helen, thank you so much again. Folks, if you like this episode and would like to stay connected with the podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, as well as following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Always remember, liberty and freedom are easily taken for granted, just like we just saw and experienced just a few years back. Don't take it for granted. Go out there and defend freedom and liberty. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to American Potential. You may listen to more stories from Americans working every day to expand freedom and opportunity in their communities by visiting AmericanPotential.com.